Egypt wasn't just a land of tombs and treasures. It was a living, breathing civilization that pulsed with the rhythm of the Nile. Myth speaks of curses and mummies, but reality reveals a society of scientists, healers, and innovators. Egypt was vibrant, an African powerhouse of knowledge, ritual, and everyday ingenuity. Picture this: the sun rises over the Nile Valley, illuminating not just grand pyramids, but bustling marketplaces and fields teeming with farmers. This was the Egypt that most people knew, a place of hard work, family life, and communal bonds. Scribes sat cross-legged, reed pens poised over papyrus, recording the day's harvest and the level of the life-giving floods. Women ground grain for bread, the staple that fueled an empire. Children played with wooden toys, miniature versions of the tools they'd one day wield as adults. But Egypt's brilliance extended far beyond the mundane. In quiet chambers, physicians pored over scrolls filled with medical knowledge that would astound modern doctors. The Ebers Papyrus, a treasure trove of ancient healing, described surgeries and herbal remedies with a precision that defied its age. These weren't the fumbling witch doctors of Hollywood imagination, but skilled practitioners who understood anatomy and the power of plants. Mathematics and engineering weren't just academic pursuits. They were the lifeblood of Egyptian society. Surveyors used ropes and plumb bobs to create right angles, laying the foundation for architectural marvels that still baffle us today. The Nilometer, an ingenious device for measuring flood levels, allowed priests to predict harvests and manage resources with uncanny accuracy. This wasn't magic, it was applied science at its finest. When we think of Egyptian afterlife beliefs, our minds often conjure images of curse-laden tombs and shambling mummies. The truth is far more profound. The Book of the Dead wasn't a catalog of hexes, but a guidebook for the soul's journey. Elaborate funerary rituals weren't about warding off tomb robbers, but preparing the deceased for a new existence. These weren't superstitions, but deeply held spiritual practices rooted in a complex understanding of life and death. Magic and science weren't opposing forces in ancient Egypt, they were two sides of the same coin. Amulets worn to ward off evil were crafted with precise measurements and specific materials, blending ritual and metallurgy. Spells were recited with the same care a doctor might use in administering medicine. The Egyptians understood that the power of belief could be as potent as any physical remedy. Egypt didn't exist in isolation. It was part of a vast network of African kingdoms and cultures. Trade routes stretched south to Nubia and Punt, bringing exotic goods and new ideas. Pharaohs sent expeditions deep into the continent, returning with gold, incense, and animals that captured the imagination. These weren't conquests, but cultural exchanges that enriched both Egypt and its neighbors. Yet for centuries, this vibrant African civilization was stripped of its context. Colonial attitudes painted Egypt as an exotic other, disconnected from its roots. The land of the pharaohs became a playground for European fantasies, its true history buried under layers of misunderstanding and appropriation. Mummies became monsters, and complex religious practices were reduced to curses and superstition. Modern research is finally peeling back these distortions. DNA analysis reveals the diverse African heritage of ancient Egyptians. Climate data helps us understand how environmental changes shaped their society. Archaeologists uncover new sites that fill in gaps in our knowledge, painting a picture of a civilization far more nuanced and advanced than we ever imagined. The legacy of ancient Egypt isn't confined to museum displays. Its influence echoes through mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. The precision of their calendar still shapes how we measure time. Their architectural innovations inspire modern engineers. Even their concepts of the afterlife continue to fascinate philosophers and theologians. Egypt wasn't frozen in time, waiting to be discovered. It was a living, breathing African civilization that shaped the world we know today. Its people weren't mystical figures trapped in hieroglyphs, but men and women who laughed, loved, and left their mark on history. Their story isn't one of curses and mummies, but of human ingenuity, scientific advancement, and spiritual depth. The next time you see a golden mask or a towering obelisk, look beyond the surface. See the scribe carefully recording flood levels, the doctor consulting ancient texts to heal the sick, the traders setting sail for distant African shores. This was the real Egypt, a land where science and spirituality walked hand in hand, where everyday life was infused with meaning and purpose. We're only now beginning to truly understand the depth and breadth of Egyptian civilization. Each new discovery challenges our preconceptions and reveals a culture more complex and fascinating than we ever imagined. From the bustling streets of ancient Memphis to the quiet study rooms of modern universities, the spirit of Egypt lives on, a testament to human creativity and the enduring power of knowledge. So let's rewrite the narrative. Let's move beyond the cliches of Hollywood and colonial fantasies. Egypt wasn't a land trapped in amber, but a dynamic society that evolved and adapted over thousands of years. It was African, innovative, and profoundly human. Its legacy isn't just in gold and stone, but in the ideas and practices that continue to shape our world. The pyramids may stand as silent sentinels of the past, but the true treasure of Egypt lies in the stories of its people. The farmers who fed an empire, the astronomers who mapped the heavens, the artists who captured the essence of life in vivid colors. Their voices echo across the millennia, inviting us to look deeper, to question our assumptions, and to see Egypt not as a distant, mystical land, but as a mirror of our own humanity. As we uncover more about ancient Egypt, we not just learning about the past, we regaining insights into who we are and where we came from. The civilization that flourished along the Nile wasn't an anomaly or a miracle. It was the product of human ingenuity, cooperation, and a deep connection to the natural world. These are lessons we desperately need in our modern age. So the next time you encounter an Egyptian artifact or read about a new discovery, pause for a moment. Look beyond the gold and glamour. See the hands that crafted it, the minds that conceived it, the society that valued it. This is the true magic of Egypt, not curses and mummies, but the enduring power of human achievement. Egypt wasn't frozen in tombs. It was measured in floods, written in ink, breathed in ritual. Myth says monsters, the records show medicine. Myth paints curses, reality reveals protection. Egypt was alive, an African civilization of science, ceremony, and skill, and its story is far from over. If you want the truth behind myths, subscribe to History Rewritten, where we unmask what textbooks left out.